All right, guys, welcome back. This is JE Live. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and joining me is Rob Stats Guerrera, who does an outstanding job of covering the 49ers. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about the Rams-Niners game going into this one. Who could possibly come out? I think the Rams might surprise some people in regards to just everything that happened with Seattle, but I'm excited to get your thoughts on this one, Rob. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I think that you were the only person I feel like that was saying, hey, the Rams are not going to be as terrible as everybody thinks that they are going to be. And lo and behold, you look like a genius because they came out in week one and stomped the Seahawks.
Yeah, well, I'll just say this. Last year they were in 16 out of the 17 games because of their defense, and everyone and their mother was complaining about them playing bend don't break. But I'm like, when your offense is as abysmal as they were, I mean, think about it. Raheem Morris is trying to just keep them in games, and it was working for the most part. And I think at the deadline, when they tried to make that last-ditch effort to go out and get a Christian McCaffrey, who is going to absolutely terrorize them this week, to go out and get Brian Burns, first off, common misconception, they think it was one or the other. They tried to get them both, and they looked at it as long-term, but also trying to extend it a little bit in denial, but trying to extend the season. It makes you wonder, you're in every game, pretty much going into the fourth quarter. It's like maybe having those guys, you steal a couple of those games. Now we're talking 8-9, 9-8. So I do get the rationale there, but what were your first thoughts when you first heard about that? Because I know like a lot of people are like, the Rams are out of this thing. What are they doing?
Well, I wasn't shocked at all. This is what Les Snead and Sean McVay do. They take big swings. And look, we saw it with the Stafford acquisition. You beat us out to get Matt Stafford, which I will never fully forgive you for. And we beat you out for Christian McCaffrey, although I think you got the better end of that deal. But still, it didn't surprise me because that's what the Rams do. And honestly, I think that part of the Rams' aggression has sort of rubbed off on the 49ers. And I think it's part of the reason they made the move to draft Trey Lance, giving up all those picks. And I think it's part of the reason they got McCaffrey, because it's like, these friggin' guys are doing it and it's working out for them, so we should do it too.
No, absolutely. And, credit to you guys. I mean, just like the Christian McCaffrey move was so intelligent. It was just an idea like, look, we are a Super Bowl team. And Christian McCaffrey is going to be that last piece to get us over the top. And let's be honest here, we don't know what could have happened if Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt. So, I mean, to be fair there. Going into this game, I watched the 49ers week one game. And, I mean, I don't think the Steelers are that bad. I think people need to understand the 49ers are that good. What were your first thoughts coming out of that game? And did it surprise you at all?
It did surprise me that they were that good because they historically do not start fast under Kyle Shanahan. He was just 2-4 in week one before Sunday, and they had scored around 17 points a game in week one in the Shanahan era, and they had 20 points halfway through the second quarter in this game. So it was a little bit of a difference. But the thing that jumped out to me the most is if you don't have an elite play caller or an elite quarterback, this is what's going to happen to your offense. This defense is that good when everyone is healthy that they are going to absolutely shut you down.
I agree. I will say I'm not one of those people that likes the trash talking. Like if I was playing the NFL, and I never play in the NFL, to be fair, but I wouldn't put bulletin board material out there. Do you think that Patrick Peterson thing had anything to do with it? Ruffled some feathers, maybe unleashed the beast in some of these players. I don't know. I don't go into normally like that type of stuff, but sure seemed like it.
100%. Debo and Brandon Ayuk were talking about it on the sidelines after Ayuk caught his second touchdown pass of the game. I just could tell from Brock Purdy's response during the week because he was like, oh, yeah? And he just gave one of those like, we'll see. And then sure enough, they go down for their second touchdown drive. And the play is Ayuk and Peterson one-on-one. And Brock doesn't look anywhere else. He drops back. He's staring at it the whole time. And he drops the pass right in the bucket. And after the game, he said, oh, was that on Patrick Peterson? I think it was a thing.
I think so, too. It's why, I swear by it. Don't put bulletin board material. There's no need to, right? Like you don't have to do it. It's not like it's going to, you have nothing to gain out of it. Like you get, I told you so. That's about it. But there's way too much it's like betting the insurance in blackjack. You don't do it. But moving on to this game, Pete Carroll, just looking at his response, did not take the Rams seriously, which is hilarious because they are division rivals. He barely beat them both times last year with Baker Mayfield and John Wolford. And it looked like he got hit by a Mack truck and didn't realize he just got hit by a Mack truck. Going into this one, Rob, the Rams could not run the ball last week. Seattle sold out to stop the run. They took the Cooper Kupp news like, oh, well, they're not going to throw the ball. They don't have a passing attack. And Stafford was like, about that. So looking at this one with the 49ers, they pretty much take away the middle of the field. They got arguably the best linebacker tandem in football. Puka Nacua might not have his way with them in the middle of the field, I would say. I want to get your thoughts because I believe that Tutu Atwell is the X factor for the Rams in this one. Can stretch that field. We've seen it with OBJ. We saw in the NFC title game, 2 years ago with Ben Skoranek, although he dropped the wide open touchdown. But we've seen it. Is that the key, would you say? Like, as somebody that covers the 49ers, to stretch them all over the place with some speed and then maybe open up the things underneath? Or how would you go about beating a team that you cover?
Honestly, to me, the only way to beat the 49ers is to throw it deep. The problem is you need time to do that. And the whole 49ers defense is structured to prevent you from having time to do that exact thing. They know they can't really cover that well on the back end. So they're like, we're going to get pressure with our front four. We're going to leave 7 in coverage, basically as many people as possible to cover. And we're going to hope that our front four is good enough to get to you. And most of the time it is because they have Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa. Hell, Drake Jackson had 3 sacks last week. He had 3.5 sacks the whole season last year. So that's their plan. So if Matt Stafford can somehow get time to throw, he's good enough to be able to throw it deep. And that's what I would do. But it is easier said than done.
I agree. It is easier said than done. I think, when you look at last week, everyone has said this offensive line's awful. It's devoid of talent. I was saying pump the brakes a little bit. We don't even know what the offensive line was last year because they were on to their 4th string. Like, there were guys that they were taking off of other teams' practice squads and starting them the next week. They called this guy out, Tyen Secchi, who's been around the league for a while. He was on the Rams practice squad in 2012. He started for the Rams finally last year. So that's where they were at. However, they go out and they get Steve Avila, who, watching the All-22 tape, wow, that guy looks like he's going to be as advertised. They got great play out of Alec Jackson. They only allowed 5 pressures, no sacks. And Seattle has a good pass rush. Not great. Not the Niners. Do you think they can actually give Stafford enough time? Not like last week. There's going to be a sack or 2 in this game. There just is. There's too much talent. But can the Rams provide enough of a block for him, enough room in the pocket to move where Stafford could do somewhat like what he did last week? And maybe we're looking at this a little bit differently. And this is a different type of 49ers Rams, not a low scoring game, more of a little bit of a back and forth high scoring game.
I don't think so. Just not as the knock on any offensive lineman on the Rams, but I think the 49ers front is basically as good as it's been since 2019 when they went to the Super Bowl. Nick Bosa, for instance, feasts on the Rams. In 7 total games against the Rams, he has 16 quarterback hits. He has 6.5 sacks, and he has 8 tackles for loss. He was not himself last week. He had held out basically all offseason, didn't do anything like football-wise. He's in shape because he's Nick Bosa, but he wasn't playing football, obviously. Now this week, he's got a full week of practice. He's not going to be on a snap count this week like he was last week. So I think that Bosa is going to feast. I think that Javon Hargrave is going to have a good game. And I don't think that Stafford is going to have the time in this one. And again, that's not a knock on anyone on the Rams. I just think this defense is that good.
I do too. As somebody that covers the Rams, I'm actually very high on the 49ers. I think really the only concern I have, and not really a concern, but just something keep it in mind, is Brock Purdy has never really dealt with adversity being behind in big games. It's because they've been so good, And so I think that's really the only thing holding them back from winning a Super Bowl, is because we don't really know what Brock Purdy is in those moments. I mean, he stepped up and he's won big games, but we haven't seen him have to come back from a lead. Like when the Rams were down by 10 in the NFC title game, we know Stafford can do it. He had to do it in the Super Bowl. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that Tom Brady-esque ability, and he could definitely have it. But that's my one knock on him. I think like fans should be a little like they should temper their expectations a little bit. I've seen a lot of Rams fans that were saying tank for Caleb Williams while I was saying they're not going to do that, like repeatedly. Tank for Caleb Williams. They're going to lose. We want them to lose. They're going to lose. And then they beat Seattle. It's like, oh, we're taking down the Niners. It's over. Game over. And I'm like, Rob, I know. Like, this is the type of stuff like we've had back and forth just laughing about. It is a little bit of the tribalism of sports fandom. But, like, when you hear that, I mean, you just saw what they did last week. And I understand, like, you're giving respect to the Rams. You're like, they beat the crap out of Seattle. Do you see any scenario where the Rams really, like, are going to win this game?
I think that Stafford would have to go God mode, which, by the way, he's totally capable of doing. But also, I think that the Niners would have to have a couple disasters. And they got a little lucky last week. They had 2 fumbles that they recovered. One of them that Brock Purdy recovered behind his back. I still don't know how he did that against TJ Watt. They gave up 3 sacks. The right side of the 49ers offensive line is a sieve. It's horrible. Colton McKivitz at right tackle and Spencer Burford at right guard are god-awful. They gave up 9 combined pressures last week. Now, granted, some of that's because TJ Watt was over there, but still, they are not very good. Everybody knows they're not very good. Every good pass rusher is going to be lined up over there. So there are some vulnerabilities in that way. But the thing about Brock is the dude never panics. I've never seen a quarterback that's this young, that's this poised. Perfect example. Last week against the Steelers, he drops back to pass. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a free rusher. He is untouched, comes screaming through the line of scrimmage, and Brock Purdy leaves him grabbing air, gives him a spin move, goes out to his left, rolls left, flips his hips, throws a completion to Deebo Samuel for 10 yards and a first down. Then we find out afterwards, Brock called the wrong play in the huddle. It was a broken, busted play, and he had a free rusher coming at him, and he's just like, no problem, spin away, buy extra time. There's a guy. I'll throw it. Completion. He's incredibly poised, especially for somebody with 9 total games of NFL experience.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly, and I think you were the one that took that film clip, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I made the mistake of liking some of your posts, and you know how the algorithm works. Now I see it's just a 49ers echo chamber now, man. Like, it's like, but I only wanted to see your posts. Like, I was like, man, like, you were just dropping heat about the whole Trey Lance situation. And now I get everyone. Like every 49er creator is on my. Now I just don't know who's posting what. I'm getting them confused. But I think it was you. I'm pretty sure it was you that mentioned that.
It's insane. Like Brock has thrown at least 2 touchdowns in every start he's had. Yeah. The only start he's played in where they didn't score 30 points was a short week game in Seattle when Brock had broken ribs, and 10 minutes before the game started, they didn't think he was going to be able to throw the ball. Like, that's where we are. Now, I'm not saying it's all because Brock is, Patrick Mahomes. He's surrounded by all pros and he has Kyle Shanahan calling plays. But this is like where we are with him. It's really weird. Like, there's some 49er fans that are like, he's the guy. We've got our next quarterback, franchise guy. And then there's some like me, and I'm kind of like, can this really be real? Like, are we really taking the last pick in the draft, who's now going up against the first pick in the draft, and Matt Stafford, which has never happened before, by the way?
Yeah.
Is he really going to be good? Like, is this a real friggin' thing? I still kind of can't believe it.
Yeah, it's really weird for me, especially because you see that Kansas Jayhawk in the background. I'm a Big 12 football watcher, and I know Kansas football. I know. Get your laughs out now. They're going to be really good this year.
I didn't laugh.
No. I was saying to the audience. They always dig at me for that. But look, I watched Brock Purdy at Iowa State. That is not the Brock Purdy that I watched, okay? This guy was turnover prone. He didn't fit this offense at all because this offense is about the weapons you have. I mean, we haven't even really talked about George Kittle in this at all. And, I mean, George Kittle is the second best tight end, and he might actually be the best if Mahomes is throwing in the ball. But either way, this is what I'm going to say, okay? You have this offense is built to win after the catch. And now, I mean, Ayuk is going to win in general because I think he's ascending into a star. But you have these guys that are built to win after the catch, take care of the ball, have ball security, run the ball with Christian McCaffrey, don't turn the ball over. All Brock Purdy did at Iowa State is make ill-advised throws and turn the ball over. I watched him bubble screen like the play is dead. Just dirt the ball. The running back's right in front of you. And he's like, oh, bubble screen, there's two corners that are bearing down on the wide receiver, I'm going to throw this. It's like, no. And it's the fourth quarter, and I'm pretty sure they lost the game after that. Like, that's what I saw. And I'm not seeing that with this. And Kyle Shanahan deserves credit, but I also think the skill position players, the guys around him, have really rallied around him. This team has rallied around him. In this game, he's never seen Aaron Donald before. He's never seen the Rams defense before. Then again, he didn't see the Rams defense last year. So that defense, you could argue, had more talent. But he's never seen Aaron Donald. And we saw what Aaron Donald did to Geno Smith, okay?
Oh, my God.
Oh my God. Like, yeah. Are we going to get any of those moments with Brock Purdy?
Well, that's the thing he doesn't do. He doesn't do the oh, my God moment. Now, I think Aaron Donald is going to have some success because he's Aaron Donald. But he usually doesn't panic in those spots. That's the thing that's kind of separated him. And you're right. At Iowa State, he got benched at one point. Like, he was benched at Iowa State. Like, that is a thing that happened. Although I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a shift happening with the 49ers. Because the thing I noticed about Brock is he takes the doubles over the singles a lot of time, if that makes sense. He doesn't always throw to the first open guy in the shortest distance away from him. He looks deeper down the field. And last week, the Niners actually had the second fewest yards after catch in the entire Shanahan era. So what I'm wondering is if teams have adjusted and they're, packing everybody up close by the line of scrimmage. And so what's open is the deeper stuff down the field. And that's what Brock was able to take against the Steelers. I don't know if he'll be able to do that against the Rams.
Yeah, and really looking at this game, I think the keys to win on both sides. I mean, first off, I think the 49ers, they're supposed to win this game. I can't stress it enough. They're supposed to win this game. The Rams are playing with house money right now going into week 2. And I understand everyone wants to win this game. I just want to see a competitive game, okay? I have them losing, by the way. I have them losing 28-24. I do think it'll be somewhat high scoring, if you call that high scoring. I guess now it's not in this day and age with the passing era, but I could see a situation. This is actually how I see the game going. It's going to be 28-21. Rams are leading. 24-21. Rams are leading. And the 49ers have the last possession. And they're just running it with Christian McCaffrey. They got about, 3 minutes on the clock. And they're just running it down their throat. And the Rams can't stop them. And that's what I see. I think it's like, why even put Purdy in harm's way? They can't stop Christian McCaffrey. And my biggest concern about this team coming in the year is that I think that they could compete and win any game, including the Super Bowl, with the coaching staff they have, with Matthew Stafford, with Aaron Donald, with Cooper Kupp. My biggest concern is that they address the edge room, but they need another guy opposite the rookie they got. Byron Young looked awesome last week. I'm just going to say that. But Michael Hoyt is 310 pounds, and they had him covering DK Metcalf. Okay? Like,
what?
I wasn't done there. He just completely stifled DK Metcalf the first time, had a great pass breakup, and they threw a flag, and I think they did for his mental health, if I'm being honest, because, man, that's a tough pill to swallow. 310-pound linebacker. I can't believe I'm calling him a linebacker, but, yeah, he's a freakish athlete. I just think watching – that game could have been a little ugly. They couldn't stop Kenny Walker. That's going to get lost in translation here. The Rams defense could not stop Kenny Walker. The Seattle Seahawks stopped running the ball with Kenny Walker.
That sounds like the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, that will not happen with the 49ers. They will run Christian McCaffrey until he literally falls apart on the field. That's the goal number one for the Niners. That's what Kyle wants to do. If he starts running and it starts working, we all remember the NFC Championship game a couple years ago where Jimmy Garoppolo threw 8 passes in the entire game. Kyle will stick with the run if it's working.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Also, we saw the game where he ran it like 35 times, and Deebo Samuel was a lot of those times. Do we see Deebo Samuel in the backfield a lot in this game, or no?
I think the Deebo as a runner thing has it's had its day. Teams have adjusted to it. Kyle's kind of talked about it a little bit, how once Deebo's back there, the whole defense shifts. It wasn't something they were ever planning on doing. They did it because they had to do it that year because Elijah Mitchell was hurt and they had nobody that could make a big play out of the backfield. But teams have seen it now. He'll still get a couple of carries here and there, but it's not like it once was. And to be honest, with McCaffrey there, they don't need him to do that. That friggin' guy is so good. Before he got to the Niners last year, they were scoring 19 points a game, even with Ayuk and even with, all those other guys that everybody knows. And then Christian McCaffrey got there, and they started scoring 33 points a game. And that's whether it was Jimmy Garoppolo or Brock Purdy back there. So that's the power that Christian McCaffrey has in this offense.
No, I agree with you. I think it was something that had to be done, and now people are like, they're always mentioning, oh, Deebo Samuel in the backfield. I'm like, does he really? Has he been utilized in the back? Like, I was watching the game. I'm like, I see Christian McCaffrey. I see, Mitchell, but I don't see him. So, no, I think that's smart, and it's gonna make him last longer because I think that we talk about how running backs don't last that long. That's a reason they get hit all the time. And putting Deebo out there, he's probably not going to last as long if he does that. Looking at this game, and if you could tell me, give me an X factor, maybe somebody that no one's talking about that the Rams should be, keeping an eye on.
Offense or defense?
Could be either one, or if you have two, throw two.
I mean, McCaffrey is clearly it on offense. He's the whole offense orbits around him and all the different things they can do with him. Defensively, I kind of sneaky want to give it to Talanoa Hufanga, who's a name I know Rams fans know well because he intercepted Stafford at Levi's and took it to the house that sealed that game. He can make big plays like that, but he can also get burned badly. He sometimes takes the cheese, and that can, open the gate and let somebody get open deep. And like I said, that's the vulnerability with the Niners defense, and he's kind of part of that. So he can, he can giveth and he can taketh away, so to speak. So I'm going to put Hufanga as the X factor.
I like it. And I know you got to get going, so I'm not trying to keep you. But here's this last question for you. What is going to be the final score here in this game?
I'm not trying to be a homer.
No.
And maybe I'm a little biased.
I already picked the 49ers, so I get it.
I mean, the Niners are 7.5-point favorites on the road, which, Vegas, that you don't usually see road favorites that big in the NFL. But we know it's going to be a home game for the Niners anyway because of the way the fans travel. The Niners are wearing the home reds, which can you explain that to me? Why are the Rams going white?
I mean, they're trying to make this thing where it's like we're just going to wear whatever we want when you wake up. It's just like, yeah, I feel like wearing this today. Like, that's just how the Rams are. They need to solidify their home uniform, and that to me is blue. Like, it just is blue and yellow. If they wear the blue on blue, I'm going to be a little upset. I'm not going to lie. And I think it's a good uniform because it has like the gradient goes down the pant stripe. So like it works, but I'd rather see the yellow, the classic yellow. So yeah, I don't know why, man. I thought for a second because they put out a promotional graphic, red and blue. I'm like, that would be interesting.
Yeah, well, they could do that if they wanted to, I think, right? Because you don't have to do as long as the colors are different enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. We saw that they used to have the friggin' color rush every Thursday where they both would wear the colored jerseys.
That was a, what's it called? A colorblind person's nightmare.
Yes, because they did the red and the green, and that's Bills. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
But you asked me the score. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Because the Niners have been putting up 30 points a game, I think they're going to put up 30 in this one. I'll say 33-17 49ers. I think that the defense is you're not going to hold the Rams down like you did the Steelers, but this offense seems to be humming at a pace right now that we have never seen. The 49ers have won 8 straight against the Rams in the regular season. I don't think that happens by accident. I think it's kind of in McVay's head a little bit, to be honest with you. There's a little like Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan thing going on. Like when you hear McVay, did you listen to that Play Callers podcast?
I never got a chance to. Bummer.
Okay. I listened to it, and he said this in other interviews that little gang of coaches has done. They always have this like respect for Kyle. They're very complimentary of Kyle Shanahan. And I kind of get the vibe of like, they do kind of look up to him a little bit. And I think Kyle looks at his assistants and is like, yeah, you guys are really good, but you learned everything from me. I think Kyle likes beating Sean McVay.
Oh, I do too. Absolutely. I mean, I think they built their team to beat the Rams. I've said that. Like, I think that the way that they, and that's not a knock on the 49ers because people look at like, oh, they're owned by the Rams. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they respect the Rams so much. They feel like that was the team in the way. Let's just build a team to beat them and we'll beat everybody else. But as soon as we take them out, like the Aaron Donald, let's go out and draft Mike McGlinchey, like stuff like that. I'm not saying it worked out the way they wanted it to, but things like that, the yards after the catch. Okay, we know they don't, take linebackers too seriously. So let's have guys that can get to the second level and then they're breaking those tackles and, just things like that I've noticed. I feel like they really built this team to just absolutely be a mismatch for against the Rams and just terrorize them. And I think that's what we've seen. We've really seen it. It's worked out. They've won 8 straight regular season games. They didn't win the one that mattered, but still, they've won 8 straight.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. But the Niners are rolling right now. They've won 11 straight regular season games. If they win on Sunday, it'll be tied for the 9th longest regular season win streak in NFL history that they are on right now. It's insane, the run. It's just rolling. And I do agree, by the way. Every team gets built to win your division. And so I don't think it's crazy to say that they built the Niners to beat the Rams because that's how it generally works in the NFL. So I'm with you there.
Well, hey, Rob, I appreciate you taking the time. Any last thoughts you want to throw out there? Anything you're working on that my viewers should check out?
Yeah, you can see all our coverage at the Gold Standard Podcast Network. We have a YouTube channel, or you can find us anywhere podcasts are found. We try to be as objective as possible on some of these things. A lot of people, in case you're wondering, think I'm the negative one. So I like to think I'm objective, but if you don't, I'm definitely not a homer is what I'm saying. So if there's any info you want to know about the Niners, you can come over, listen to some of the things that I'm saying. You feel like you can trust the information.
I love it. I'll link that after this live stream is finished. Man, thank you so much. I'm a big fan of yours and what you're doing, and I'm glad we've been able to connect with Twitter. I know. I think you were mocking me at one point over a take, but we've since connected, and you're awesome, man. Really appreciate you.
That does sound like me. So I do get a little crazy on Twitter. I apologize for that. No, but there's nobody that I trust more for my Rams information than you. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man. You take care, and we'll have to link up again.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care, Rob.
See ya.
All right, guys. That was Rob Guerrera. A lot of fun. A lot of fun having him. He's who I would call a 49ers expert at this point in time. Just a guy that, if I need information, I'd probably go to him over anybody. Most people. He's great. He does a great job of covering that team. And, I just think at the end of the day, you want to try, especially with JE Live, you want to try and bring on true experts in their field. And Rob's just really, really good at what he does. So awesome stuff there. Really appreciate it. We're going to continue on with the show, guys. I just want to make that very clear. I'm not going anywhere. I was burned out last night. For those of you who stopped by the Rams All 22 on Kick, and if you haven't already, definitely go follow me on Kick, kick.com/JKBogan. That was some fun, man. But man, I was burned out. I went into a hibernation state of sleep this morning. Woke up at 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's been my day, So, we had Marshall Falk, of course, on Believe in Rams. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to check that out after. Really good stuff there. Just, it's football season, guys. You're going to get more content like what you're seeing right now. Appreciate the 12 of you over on Kick right now. Appreciate that. Appreciate the 120 of you that are on YouTube. Let's see. Who am I? Let's see. Anthony D. How you doing? Will, Reek, Inked. How you doing? How's everything going, guys? Alex, Paul, Justin, Jim, Alexander, Don, Miguel, GG Gambling, Jack, Andrew, Smoke. How you guys doing? Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is having some fun. Man, that was a fun interview. I really enjoyed getting him on here. Now, moving forward here, I'm going to try and pivot, but also got to put in some, I just realized I never put in tags. So if anybody's looking for like Rams 49ers, they're not even going to find this. So, that's that. But how's everyone doing, man? How are we all doing? Hate to admit it, but Purdy was good to bet on when he was in college. Iowa State was the Titan killer when they got a big time team. They always covered, and of course he is going to be special. Let's see. So, man, if only the Niner fans were fair and level-headed like Rob, I'd still hate the 49ers, but maybe like 1% less. It's funny. That's funny. Rams fan, what's up? So yeah, I'm happy to have you guys here. So yeah, that's that. That's fun. So going into this game, guys, like I understand there are a lot of people that are really, really high on this. People that are low on it. And I'll just say this right now, okay? I think the Rams are going to be competitive. I've said that. Rob has them, I think 33-17 was the score he had. I really think that like a 33-17 is possible. But I tend to believe it's going to be a one possession game. I think the Rams cover. Cautiously optimistic. Am Rams fan. I think that's a good way to put it, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely a good way to put it. I think being cautiously optimistic, you don't want to be, too overboard. You don't want to go too overboard and say, oh yeah, this team going to do this and, they're going to prove everyone. We don't know. We really don't know. We know that they did a really nice job against the Seahawks, and on all 22, I mean, we were able to see moments where, like, I thought we got some really good stuff out of the Rams on all 22. I think they did a nice job of kind of hiding things they want to do. Like, they didn't use too much Ben Skoranek. I think Skoranek is going to be kind of a sleeper guy there. I think he could have a decent role, especially coming out of the backfield as kind of like the Kyle Juszczyk of the offense. I think that's interesting. I think not using John Johnson, who's had success covering George Kittle in the past, that's interesting because he didn't have one snap on the defensive side of the ball. So yeah, it's just very interesting stuff there for sure. What's up, Coach? Jake, the Seahawks didn't have their two tackles in that game. Could be the reason why the Rams got that pressure on Geno. Seahawks also didn't have any pressure from that front four. So this is what I'm going to say. The Seahawks didn't have any pressure from the front four because the Rams offensive line dominated. So there's nothing to be taken away there. The Rams offensive line was just simply better. I don't think the Seattle Seahawks defensive line was bad. That's the first thing. The second thing here is that the pressure coming off the edge, I do get what you're saying. They were still able to get pressure. I watched Charles Cross get bodied repeatedly by Byron Young. Okay, Byron Young was still getting in there. It wasn't necessarily that both tackles were out. So I think that there are a lot of fans that were like, man, you hear that both tackles are out, and it's like you wonder. It's like, man, are the Rams really, like, their pressure, were they really getting to Geno? They were. Like, they were really getting to Geno. And I was really impressed with the rookie Byron Young because, look, I'll tell you right now, we knew he could win with speed. He's got, like, elite speed. He has, good hand usage. He's still a work in progress in the run defense department. But what we saw with him converting speed to power and just putting, Charles Cross, the left tackle, on his ass, that was impressive. Like, that was some really good stuff, eating his lunch. And we saw it on that first drive where they held him to a field goal. Amazing pass breakup by Darion Kendrick. And I have to say, like, that power that Young exhibited, I didn't even know he had. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're asking. I just wanted to make it very clear for those that don't know, Coach. Like, at the end of the day, this Rams team just beat the crap out of Seattle. It had nothing to do with injuries. It was not close. They did not take the Rams seriously. We went over it in all 22. I broke it down last night. The Seattle Seahawks did not take the Rams seriously. Pete Carroll did not prepare for that team the way he should have. They looked unprepared. They looked like they did not take them seriously. As soon as Cooper Kupp went down, they were like, okay, they're not going to throw the ball. They're going to try to run it a bunch of times at Cam Akers. So we're going to sell it to stop the run. And they did. They stopped the run. They did a great job of that. That's what happens when you focus entirely on stopping the run. I also think there's a tell And I've seen people say this in the comments section, but I've been saying it for a while. I said it last year with Darrell Henderson. When Henderson's in there, he can pass protect. He can catch out of the backfield. He can run the ball. Teams were giving him more lighter boxes. But when Cam Akers is in there, now teams are stacking 8 and 9 in the box. And the reason I say that is because Cam Akers, whether he is capable of it or not, I believe he is. So this is not me hating on him. I believe he is capable of catching out of the backfield. The Rams just don't use him that way. He's not used in a great way. And I think that speaks volumes to the idea that they don't trust him like they do Kyron Williams. So when Cam Akers is out there, everyone and their mother is pinning their ears back, they're in the box, they're ready to go. They know it's going to be a run. On the off chance it is a play action, they'll just deal with it because most of the time they're going to be right. Akers had 21 carries, barely had 1.8 yards per carry. Not great at the office there. So I just think, to me, when you look at everything that's going on with this team, it was the furthest thing from a fluke win. It was the furthest thing from, it was just week 1 that I could see. The Rams made a statement that I believe is going to continue on throughout the season. They're going to go through their peaks. They're going to go through their valleys. They're going to have growing pains. They're going to have moments where you think that this team could win a Super Bowl. Okay, I'm just telling you that right now. That second half was a clinic. And you could say there were injuries and all that, all you want. But when you hold any offense in the NFL that has Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, that has Gary, thank you for subscribing, that has Tyler Lockett, that has Jackson Smith and Jigba, Noah Fant, if you hold that offense, Kenny Walker, that offense to 12 yards and 1 first down in the entire second half, that's legit. Okay. Now, looking at this game and previewing this game, the 49ers are legit as well. And they're very much a Super Bowl contender. They should be considered one of the Super Bowl favorites. I think at the end of the day, like, coach is bringing up Drake Jackson. He had 3 sacks, guys. So, Drake Jackson, you guys knew him at USC and everything. And say what you will, obviously, he didn't have a great year last year. But Drake Jackson in 2023 looks like he's set to have a really good season. And the thing that I saw on tape with Drake Jackson is that, he is just ferocious, man. He's got this nonstop ability about him, really, really good motor. And now you have him, you have Bosa, you have Armstead, you have Hargrave. I mean, you have all these guys. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, man. It is not going to be easy. This is a real test. I'm just saying right now, if this offensive line does a good job against this defense, this isn't just week 2. This isn't just way too early. This is to tell you that if everything stays the way it does, guys stay healthy, I'm just telling right now, this offensive line, if they do a good job in protecting Stafford this week, first off, I think they're going to win the game. Okay? If they protect Stafford really well, they're winning this football game. I still think they lose, but if they protect him better than I expect, they'll win the game. However, the most important thing here is that it goes beyond just the game. If the Rams offensive line does what they did against Seattle, against this defense, this team can win a Super Bowl. Because all you need to know, you got the elite coaching, you got a defense that, hey, they're going to be inexperienced at times, they're going to show out at times, it's part of having a young defense. But I'm just saying, guys, right now, if they beat the 49ers, if this offensive line looks really good and Stafford has all day to throw, this team can win the Super Bowl. Because at the end of the day, look at what Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have done. They won a Super Bowl, and that defense was starting 2 rookies in the secondary. And let's just be honest here. Like, I don't. How good are the Chiefs right now? So, I'm just saying, this is why you never know how the NFL season is going to go. It's unpredictable. What you do know is that a team that has a coach that is a leader of men, that needed everything to go wrong last year for him to have his first losing season. What you do know is that guy who's been in 2 Super Bowls, he's won 1, he's still the youngest coach in the NFL, is not, 1, going to tank, and 2, he's not going to have a bad season unless there are some serious injuries along the way. And we don't predict injuries here. Okay? That's hot garbage. We don't do that. So, to Coach's point, if the Rams can handle this front, like, they're going to have a great season. Like, this game will be a barometer for what the Rams truly can be this year. This isn't just, oh, it's overreaction Monday. No. Tomorrow's the 15th. Saturday's the 16th. Sunday's the 17th. Monday's the 18th. If the Rams beat the 49ers on Sunday and the offensive line looks good, the defense does a nice job against Brock Purdy and the 49ers, the 18th is going to have some conversations that are going to be weird and very interesting. And this is why I just don't believe in tailing yourselves to the back of a bandwagon that this team was ever going to tank. I don't believe in it. Do what you will, right? Do what you will. Whatever you believe in. But I'm just telling you right now, this team, if they win on Sunday, there's going to be a lot of discussion about how good this team can be. But now, let's be a little realistic here, okay? It's not that the Rams can't beat the 49ers, but you can't underestimate the 49ers. The Rams have lost 8 straight meetings against the 49ers in the regular season. So you can't just underestimate that. But you also can't underestimate the fact that Brock Purdy, in a new season with all that film on him, looked really good against the Steelers. And, I mean, they took their foot off the gas pedal when it was a 28-7 ball game. So this is not going to be easy. And you can't just assume it is. And I think still the biggest concern of mine going into this game is going to be Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel eats against the Rams. We know that. Ayuk, I don't really believe Ayuk has had his moments against the Rams. Kittle has. Deebo has. Christian McCaffrey has eaten the Rams alive at every moment he has played against them. Go to the Carolina game. They couldn't stop him against Carolina. That was before they tried to make the trade. That's before the 49ers got him. They played him 3 times last year. All 3 times. They played him 3 times. And he rips right through the Rams. And my concern is the edge defenders setting the edge, Michael Hoyt. And I think that's a pretty big concern. Because CMC, and we're just talking about him as a running back. It took me so long to view Christian McCaffrey as a runner. I just looked at him as a playmaker. I looked at him as a pass catching back before a runner. The 49ers are like, we're just going to let him run the ball. No one could stop him. And he's gotten a lot bigger. Like, he is big. He's filled out. I don't think people get that. He was skinnier when he came in the NFL. Now he's bigger. But what's most important, he's not just bigger up here in the torso area. Like, he's bigger in the calves and the thighs. It's hard to bring down a guy who's filled out like that. So that is something that needs to be said, is that really at the end of the day, when you look at it, I mean, this is not going to be an easy test, guys. This is not for a second going to be an easy test. This game, it's going to be a war. It really is. And my question for you, and you answer this for me, are the Rams going to be able to run the ball? Or is it going to be more like Seattle? Because last week, okay, Rams, they run the ball, and Seattle sold out to stop the run. They ran it over 40 times. Seattle sold out to stop the run. They still won. But the 49ers, I don't know if you can win a game against this defense if you can't establish the run. So it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one. Cleveland Farrell, Javon Kinlaw, Kerry Hyder, Kevin Givens, and that rotation will never stop coming. It's scary. The 49ers will try to run 35 to 40 times. It's the way to keep AD off Purdy. And we heard Rob. Rob said the best chance for the Rams is to go downfield, is to pick on them downfield. We know Stafford can do it. You got to give Stafford time to do it. We know Tutu Atwell can get downfield. We know Van Jefferson can get downfield. They need to have the time to do it. So, this could be a game we barely see Cam Akers in. I'm going to say that right now because Kyron Williams is the better pass protector. And if you need to give Stafford some extra time, having a guy in the backfield in pass pro is going to help. That's the move. So this might be a game when we see a ton of Kyron Williams and start to wonder, does Cam even have a role on this team? There's a really good chance of that. So this is what I've been saying. I say, you got to stretch the field, man. You got to go down the field. You got to use Tutu Atwell. You got to use Van Jefferson. You got to be aiming down the field, opening things up over the middle, opening things up all over the field. And so they're looking at last week. They saw what they did. They got Tutu in motion. They had him, he was a mismatch because Seattle had no way to stop him. What Sean McVay did, for those of you who didn't tune in to the All-22 last night, be better. No, I'm kidding. I do it every week, so you will do a 49er one probably next Wednesday, I would imagine. So, yeah, look, Sean McVay created absolute chaos in the secondary. What Sean McVay did was he would get Tutu Atwell in motion, and he would have the ball snapped while he's still moving. Kind of like arena football, but not really, if you know what I mean. So he would have him still moving like while he's in motion. Tutu is so quick that he has already beaten Van Jefferson and Puka Nacua off the line of scrimmage, despite the fact that he's moving he's moving around. He's not going straight. So they would have Tutu Atwell moving, and it would create mismatches because now linebackers covering this tight end. Now Tutu Atwell comes through, and it's a legal pick essentially. It's like in basketball when you go like this. You set a screen, it's like a legal screen because you're not making contact, you're just getting in the way. You're redirecting the defense. That's the type of stuff that Sean McVay was using. I'll just say this now. Tutu Atwell will take this team as far as they need to go because his speed, they weren't using him like Marquise Brown or Tavon Austin on Sunday, folks. They were using him like he was their Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill creates mismatches. Tyreek Hill makes it really hard to defend anybody at that level. You see Jalen Waddle getting free releases because Tyreek Hill is getting doubled. When you have that speed on the field, and he's not as fast as Hill. Hill, I believe, is the fastest player in football. I think Mostert is also right up there. But anyway, the point is, he was being used like he was the Tyreek Hill of the offense. And while Cooper Kupp is out, you have to find ways. You have to, cheap or not, you have to find ways to win the game. You have to find ways to get guys open. You have to find ways to attack the defense's weaknesses and their strengths even. You have to go after their strengths. Just because they're really good players doesn't mean you're not going to have to play against Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. We talk about the front, but those guys can be a problem too. Javarius Ward downfield. So I am so fascinated to see how this game goes, man. I think he could dink and dunk a little bit, coach. I do think so. The jet sweeps here, there's a lot of jet motion they brought back. They stopped it a little bit last year. More jet motion and more creative jet motion that set up, got Tutu Atwell already on the run. He's already going to be really hard. And I just think the name of the game last week was chaos. The Rams created a lot of chaos, gave the Seahawks a lot of different looks. And they could have all the talent in the world in the secondary. We keep talking about, Tariq Woolen, he's so great. And Quandre Diggs has been a problem against the Rams. And, oh, Julian Love was so, yeah, Julian Love. Yeah. Julian Love was so good for the Giants last year. Like, it wasn't just NPC auto jet motion last year. The chaos they created, it was methodical. And they didn't use it every play, and they didn't always just use Tutu Atwell. And I think the common misconception here is they're only using Tutu Atwell in jet motion and keeping him out on the run because they don't believe he can get free releases off the line of scrimmage. And to me, that's hogwash. That's not true. He can. He did it multiple times in that game. He can get off the line of scrimmage. The problem when you do something like that is, say now I have him on one side of the field. I motion him over and I stack him on top of Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee. And now this guy who had his assignment was Tutu Atwell on the other side of the field. Keep in mind, who's Atwell running around? Think about this. This is important. This is simple, but you're going to understand what I'm saying in 2 seconds here. Who is Atwell having to move around? When he's going in motion, it's a free path for a receiver. So he has the advantage, right? The corner has to redirect himself and get around linebackers, depending on where they're listed, outside linebackers, safeties. It's not always simple to follow and trail the motion wide receiver. It's a little thing that maybe you're not even realizing, and now you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's why it's an advantage for the wide receiver who goes in motion like that right before the play is snapped. But then you look and you're like, okay, the guy who was on Tutu Atwell, he has not gotten to where Atwell is now because he has to redirect himself through all that traffic in the defense. Okay, so that's a big thing. One thing. The second thing is, since he didn't get there in time, you have two guys. You have two guys that are on Van Jefferson and Higbee. And so Atwell moving out there, stacking on top of Higbee and Van Jefferson, there's only two guys to cover three players. Do you see now what I mean by chaos? I'd call it controlled chaos. Chaos just sounds like you're going crazy. You're shooting from the hip. You don't know what you're doing. Oh my God. No, it's controlled chaos. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're causing fits in the defense. That is the great thing about motion and, controlled chaos and how you can, because at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter how they get open. You're just trying to get guys open. And when you have Stafford, you still can complete passes without getting guys open. But that's the important thing is that controlled chaos, is that you want to, it's the same thing with ball screens in the NBA. Like, can my guy slice right through the defense if he's, Kobe Bryant or LeBron James or something? Yeah. If I have a slasher who can go right through the defense, sure, but why not make it easier? I'll have a ball screen here. I'll go around the ball screen. Defender now loses him because he just got screened, and then boom, you have your basket. Well, it's no different in football. Football, I mean, you're trying to find different ways to win the game. And you're not just doing things for the hell of doing them. Everyone has a purpose. So there's a lot of interesting things to happen. And guys, I'm sorry if I missed your comments earlier. Because when I have guests on, I'm not really as interactive with the chat. So that's why I think moving forward, if a guest has to go early, I think I'll just keep the stream going like I did now. Let's see. I want to go back. There was one that I saw and I was going to answer, but I was in the middle of something. And hope everyone's doing well, by the way. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's see. I think it was Joakim. Sorry, I said your name wrong. Hey Jake, thank you for an awesome film room on Kick and a freaking awesome Believe with Falk. Was nice to hear him speak. Yeah, it was really cool to get Marshall Falk on. it was really cool. Cam and I, our job here, we're going to try to make, Believe in Rams as best as it can be. And, we've been getting some big guests. We got Holt, we got Falk, to be determined after that. So just, keep tuning in. And then Alexis and I are going to try to get some guests as well. So, we're doing all sorts of stuff. And yeah. What if that they always ran with Akers so that the 49ers pick it up on tape and then change it up for them? Zarder, that's an interesting proposition. I wouldn't rule it out. I will say, and I said this last night, when you're able to, what am I thinking of here? When you're able to win a game 30-13, okay? You're able to win a game 30-13. You don't have to pull out all the stops. Sorry, I was updating something on Twitter, setting out this link, but you don't have to pull out all the stops. That's a good thing, right? When you're winning 30-13, you don't have to pull out all the stops. Because you don't have to pull out all the stops, you can keep things for next time. Okay? So what I mean by that is you're winning 30-13. There's no sense in me using that play that I was going to use. Now I can wait. It's not on film. There's no resume. There's no paper trail of it or video trail, whatever you want to call it. I can bring that out against the 49ers, and now they don't have any idea of what I'm going to do. And that's the thing. See, the Rams, while they are week to week, NFL teams are week to week, they are thinking ahead. They are thinking ahead. Hey, we don't want to do that because we don't want to put that on film. You don't want to put that on film because you don't want other teams to know how to stop it. When you put something on film, now week 3, Cincinnati Bengals, whatever they put on film against the 49ers, the Bengals in their game plan, they're going to study that. Be like, oh, okay, when they do that, we can do this. So they're not going to put stuff out on film that they feel could be a benefit for them moving forward. And I think that's an important distinction there. It's important to realize that because be like, oh, why don't you run this or run that? It's like you want to win games, but you don't want to show all of your cards in doing so. You do everything you can to win a football game, but if you can help it, you want to have some intrigue about your offense. You don't want to show all your cards early on. You don't want to make it easy for defenses to study you. And I really think that's the right way to go about things. I really do. So that's interesting there. Winning 30-13. They didn't have to show all their cards against Seattle. Let's be honest here. Seattle wasn't very good. They weren't really much of a competition for the Rams. First half, maybe. Second half, not really. So anyway, and I know, can you believe Seattle was winning, by the way, at one point? They were winning going into the half. Yeah, about that. Anyway. Oh, nothing but facts on both sides. Hey, I appreciate that. Still unreal 7th round quarterback from Iowa State meant for practice squad. Now look at him. It's very true. Very true. Nice chat. Rob about fell out of his chair when I told him the Rams use Hoyt in coverage against Metcalf. I know, right? Well, this is the thing. A lot of people didn't get to see the full game. And 310-pound outside linebacker sounds ridiculous in itself, but then covering Metcalf and actually breaking up the pass. Like, I make a joke. I think they did it for his mental health. Why else are you calling a penalty? It was a great pass breakup, man. Like, what are you doing? Don't do that again, Rams. Don't do that again. Renegade, how you doing? Let's see. I'm just not expecting anything. Looking forward to just seeing how our teams perform. That's fair. I'm excited to see how the teams perform against a playoff-ready team. This is not about going for the win. I feel like we have a shot, but this is a game that will test players and let us know where we are at the. That's exactly it, Swizzleberry. That's exactly how I'm looking at the game. I'm not going to overreact to anything. I'm not going crazy. I'm just going to say, I look at this game like, hey, no expectations here. Just play tough, stay in the game. You win the game. This is great. This is not a game you're supposed to win. Okay. Nobody thought you were going to win this game coming into the season. Nobody. They did have their tackles the first half. They did. They absolutely did. That last defensive drive, the Rams pinned their ears back and ran Geno Smith over. That's also true, minus the 3 rushing yards. You don't hold an offense to 12 yards and a half by accident. Also true. You don't have 0 punts and a half by accident either. Total truth. Zarder, hey Jake, is Jonathan Grenard a possibility if the Rams are looking for an addition to the defensive line? I'm sure they would consider him. It's really all about the pro scouts at that point. Because for all your college scouting, everyone talks about, people forget there's pro scouts. So these scouts already know these guys. They've made a board and everything. And I don't know where Jonathan Grenard is on that board, but it's all up to them at that point. I wouldn't be surprised if they went after somebody like that. I think San Fran has this one. Just hope social doesn't go nuts and say last week was a fluke. You already know that's what they're going to do, Deb, unfortunately. But I agree with you. I do think San Francisco gets this one. If the Rams beat the 49ers, I'm going to have some fun messages to send people after months of trash talk. That's fair. That's very fair, Swizzleberry. If you're quiet and you hear it, okay. But once it happens, and now I have the leverage here, I have the advantage, I have a lot that I can say, I'm going to say it. I agree with you. He has killed the Rams since he came in the league. It's so true. CMC is so good. He got the cycle on us last year. It'll be a real good test for the O-line. I agree with that. I think they have to establish a run, but it's going to be tough. I think it will have Kyron Williams. I don't trust Cam Akers to find the holes. It was jet motion with a purpose. Last year, it didn't feel like there was a purpose to motion. We had tight end motions last week. Yes, we did. Zarder, what if they always ran with Akers so that the 49ers pick it up on tape and changed up for them? I think I already answered that, but that's certainly an interesting thought. Sunday's game will be the first time a number 1 overall quarterback pick will go against the final pick in the draft quarterback. That's crazy. If the Rams win on Sunday, they will say Stafford is trying out for a trade. Yep, that's probably something that they will say. I just want Stafford upright. I am fearful of his game. He cannot get hurt. I agree. So yeah, I will say that. Let's see here. All right. Is anyone on Discord right now? I'll take a few calls and then call it a show. So if anyone wants to hop on and give their thoughts on the Rams 49ers game, let me know. Just hop in the waiting room and I'll bring you in. But I'm only I can't even talk. I'm only gonna take 3 calls, okay? Because I'm just gonna keep this short so I can go and eat. I haven't eaten today. I know it's 5 p.m. Eastern time, and that's disgusting. I have not eaten yet. So 3 calls, right? First come, first serve. Discord, go right in the waiting room, and I'll bring you in. So while I wait, are the Seahawks better than the Steelers? Because Seattle has had at least a solid first half, unlike Pittsburgh, I think, is better than Seattle. I do believe that. I do believe that. Anyone coming through? No? You guys gonna leave me hanging, really? Embarrassing. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, if you want to join, there's the Discord link right there. And yeah, it's in the waiting room. Oh, Swizzleberry's here. How's it going, man? You are on JE Live. Oh man, it's going. I burned myself out last night, if you couldn't tell. Then I went into a hibernation, and then I woke up in time to prepare for my interview with Rob. And yeah, that's pretty much how that went.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that one. I'm like running on like 3 hours of sleep for the last couple of days.
Oh yeah.
So it's like I'm on the tail end of it myself right now.
Yeah,
But-
no, I feel that.
Yeah, but this is exciting to see because I think this is the first Rams-Niners game aside from the NFC Championship game where both teams look very good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I mean, what's cool is that no one really bought into this, no one bought into this.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing that I'm really looking at. I still need to look at more tape for the Niners, but what I want to see more of. It's their secondary is scary as hell.
Yeah. No, I mean, my thing is like when you look at Seattle, like, and I think this is the thing is like Seattle this year, people were trying to act like Seattle was like the Niners. Like they were like, oh, you know, and I think a lot of it, Swizzleberry, is when you, and I mean, we basically take in a lot of media. And,
Right.
you know, I don't watch those shows, but they come up on my feed. They're a minute long. Maybe I'll watch, right? And everyone is they're trying to sound smarter than the next person. Everyone and their mother is trying to do that. And I feel like people were really reaching for Seattle, like to be the I told you so team that could win the Super Bowl. And I understand it's week 1. That team's not winning the Super Bowl. I would put all my money on the table. The Seattle Seahawks will not win the Super Bowl in 2023. They will not do it. They're not that team, but that doesn't mean the Rams don't deserve credit for beating them the way they did.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see them if they make it into the playoffs. Once they go up against a Detroit, a San Francisco, like teams that we look at and go, that's a complete and ready team, and they showed it on their first game, there's no chance. Like
No.
it's just unless they completely turn around how they played and we get an incredible coaching job out of Pete Carroll, I don't see it happening.
No, I don't see it happening. An incredible coaching job by Pete Carroll. It's funny because I would have expected
Oxymoron.
that on Sunday. That was not the case. He looked so unprepared, and it was so unlike him.
I haven't seen that spark from a Pete Carroll led team. I mean, he had it a little bit last year,
I agree.
but since Russell Wilson was in his prime and he was like, that's when things were clicking. They had the Legion of Boom and things were going. And it hasn't felt the same in the last like 4 years.
Yeah. No,
And
I agree.
yeah, I mean, but the nice part about it, I more so looking at the film, I am forgetting his name. It's taking me a while, but our new offensive line coach was the hire that I was extremely happy about. And I think it was still understated. Like, I think this guy is going to be the main difference maker for us. We're probably going to see our line get better and better and better as the weeks go on.
I like that you brought that up. I haven't mentioned this, but I was curious to get your thoughts on this. Do you think Kevin Carberry was not the guy, and you know Wendell is absolutely who they needed, or do you think that maybe Carberry was more so a scapegoat, and Wendell was an upgrade, so they just did something like that?
I don't think Carberry's bad. I think it's hard to do anything with that situation. Like, it's hard to really judge someone's performance of like, okay, how well did your position do when your position had a record-breaking year in injuries? Like,
Yeah.
the most injured offensive line almost ever. Like, that's kind of hard. I mean, it's like saying, hey, how'd you do in the race on Sunday, but you had no engine?
Yeah, I mean,
It-
I agree with you.
But
Yeah.
I think it was more of a situation where they decided to kind of clean house, went through everything and said, okay, we are going to be very specific and try and get the best at every position. And it wasn't necessarily a you messed up type of firing. It was more of a, well, the whole thing's messed up. And unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be collateral damage along the way.
Yeah, I don't think, like, if you ask me, I think it was a scapegoat. Because I think this is the move you make when you decide you're going to keep everybody pretty much in the offensive line that is still signed, you know? I think that was your response because something has to change. So they were like, all right, we'll move on from Carberry. We tried it and it didn't work. I think Ryan Wendell is one of those up and coming guys. I think we've known this, and I think that was the vibe when they got him. And I think he's definitely done something here because they look beyond prepared to take down Seattle in pass pro. I think if there's one thing I'm a little concerned about is the run game. But I think it's more so Seattle just threw 8-9 guys in the box and was just like, we're going to just not allow them to run the football.
Yeah, and we're going to find more about that as the weeks go on.
Yeah.
What was crazy is what it looked like to me was it looked like our weakest position or weakest kind of player, at least performance-wise. I don't want to say they're the weakest player, but as far as the person who performed the worst was Coleman Shelton.
Yeah.
And he still performed good.
He was really good, but he was the worst one of the 5. Yeah.
And that was the part that I was looking at was I was more impressed looking back at it. Steve Avila.
Oh yeah. That play last night.
Every single person.
It was on the what was it? He was the pulling guard on that run for, I think it was Kyron. And I was just so impressed with his athleticism because he's a big dude. And he's not in a phone booth type of guard. Like, this guy can get out on the block and actually run with the best of them.
Yeah. And that's the part that I was like, I have not seen, not only that, you would see linemen passing off blocks, shifting to other blitzers coming. They were doing such a good job communicating and playing as a team. It was refreshing to see that. Like, that was one of the things that you see it basically during the game when you realize, okay, our quarterback hasn't really been touched that much. And then when you go down on film, that's when you start to really see, oh, they were really doing well. And it wasn't just things were working out.
Yeah, no, things were definitely going well. So I mean, the hope is that you keep that same somewhat same momentum. Like, obviously, I think you and I both really respect what the 49ers did week 1, what they've been doing, building this team. It's not going to be easy. And I mean, I don't have them winning, but at the same time, I think, the Rams, they'll have a shot to at least be in this game. And like, the way I see it is I think they're going to be winning this game. And I think the 49ers will have a game-winning drive. And I think it'll be because of Christian McCaffrey, who, like, ironically enough, everyone talks about the defense, everyone talks about the pass rush, everyone talks about the Rams offensive line. I'm the most concerned about the matchup of the Rams edge defender setting the edge and Christian McCaffrey on the outside zone, because I think he is going to absolutely tear them to shreds on the ground. And that's not even bringing in the fact that he can do so much in the passing game. So, like, in your opinion, where are you on that statement? Because I think Christian McCaffrey is the most dangerous player on the field Sunday. And I'll say this, I think Tutu Atwell is the most dangerous player on the field after him in that order.
So, and this is the part that's crazy because, like, my dad is a huge 49ers fan, always been his entire life. And one of my best friends is a 49ers fan. So I've been talking about this with them is like, I, as a football fan, was happy for him at least coming to the NFC West because he is one of the most talented players in the NFL. So now I was like, okay, cool. I get to see him twice a year or at least once a year live. And like, I appreciate the fact that I get to see that. I am pissed that he's not on the Rams and he's on some other team in the league in our division, just because that guy is just something special. Not to mention the biggest dagger that has been plaguing the Rams from the 49ers has been the run game over and over and over again. They don't beat us too much through the pass. They beat us primarily on the run.
Yeah.
And you added McCaffrey in there last year. I mean, he went for the cycle, a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown.
That was so frustrating.
Like, I don't know how many players have ever done that, but that's a super low amount of players that have ever even attempted it.
Oh man.
I think the only time I've seen that happen before was Cam Newton in college.
And that's a little different. A quarterback doing it, I think it's more realistic.
It makes sense.
Like a running back, that's
yeah.
You know who could do it though? Well, how about this? What if Sean McVay, because these guys have a little ego. There's a little love-hate. There is. What if Sean McVay did that with Tutu Atwell, who's a former quarterback?
I would love that.
I mean, that would be... Imagine they win the game and, like, Tutu Atwell in that game is like, oh, I'll take your Christian McCaffrey and raise you a Tutu Atwell. A rushing, receiving, and a passing touchdown. I mean, he'd be their backup quarterback right now. Their emergency backup if Rippon went down, because normally it's Cup, but it would be Tutu Atwell. Interesting.
That is
right?
crazy because I forgot Tutu was a backup quarterback, and that explains so much of, or was a quarterback before. It explains why the Rams run such a complicated offense.
Yeah, and I think people. Well, first off, I think guys that can stretch the field like that, first off, are always called one-trick ponies, even if they do everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you have a guy who was a quarterback, was intelligent. Torrey Holt brought it up. Like, this guy knows offense. And I think so much so, like, we look at, like, the shorter, stockier speedster, and it's like, oh, well, he's just a guy. He's just a track star. He doesn't have the football IQ, because people immediately think of, like, Tavon Austin and Ted Ginn and Darius Hayward-Bay, and it's like, it's not really a fair, you know what I mean? It's a complete, I guess in a sense you're prejudging somebody, you know, based on the fact that they're really fast, that they can't be smart. And I just think people forget, like, Tutu Atwell was a quarterback. He knows offensive concepts. And I think that it would be really intriguing if they used him and he threw a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and caught a touchdown. Because he ran for a touchdown last year against Seattle. He caught his first career touchdown against the Saints. And he's never thrown the ball. But, I mean, no one's going to say it. It's, like, unsaid. But he's the emergency quarterback if Brett Rippon goes down. And there's another thing I want to add about Stetson Bennett. And we don't know, and I want to be very cautious here because we don't know what Stetson's going through. I'm telling you, by them saying it's not football, it's not a shoulder injury, it's not football related, like, that tells all you need to know. You're probably not going to see him for the next 4, 5, even 6 weeks. So this is the Brett Rippon show if Stafford goes down. And if Brett Rippon goes down, this is the Tutu Atwell show. And talk about a weird position to be in early on in the season.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Very weird. Very weird. I mean,
I do not want to think about that too much more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they got to sign somebody. Like, I saw that they signed Brett Rippon to the active roster because basically
Jets were going after him.
Yeah, the Jets wanted him. I mean, he knows the offense, of course. Played with, Hackett last year. And it's like,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not feeling great about Brett Rippon as the backup. I'm not. And I'm not feeling great about the whole Stetson Bennett thing. I hope he's going to be okay. And, all I can do is say, like, I'm praying for him. I hope I'm all pro, like, hey, these guys are people. And, we need to focus more on their mental health. I know Stephon Diggs actually just tweeted out, we get you all have a job and I respect it, but please remember I'm a human just like you. And if I have ever made you or anyone feel like you can't approach me, I apologize. That was in regards to the hot mic yesterday. A Bills reporter said that basically he's a jerk, like paraphrasing there. But it's just a reminder that these players, They might be your idols. They might be people you look up to. They might be people you cheer for. You wear their jersey number and their name on the back of your back. But at the end of the day, these are people too. And so I just think that people need to be very cautious and respectful and considerate about Stetson Bennett. There's way too many jokes being made. It's the internet. I get it. But we don't know what he's going through. I'm just going to say that right now. Yeah. We don't know what he's going through. I figured I would address it because I haven't addressed it yet. But I hope he's going to be okay with whatever he's going through.
Yeah. And that's when it's the non-football related stuff, that's when it's like, for me, it's more concerning because it's like, okay, I hope you're fine. Because injury, okay, whatever. You have a tweaked up shoulder, tweaked leg. You can work through that. There's a rehab process. You're with the team. Everything's fine. At least in my own personal experience, physical injuries are way easier to deal with than if it's a mental problem.
I agree.
And that's where it's just like, and when it comes to the mental stuff, I'll be honest, I'd rather deal with a torn ACL and have to go through years of rehab.
Yes.
My own personal opinion.
No, I do agree with that. As somebody that's never torn their ACL before, I think it'd just be too easy for me to say that, because I deal with depression. And, you could say that's mental health. And especially anxiety. I was very anxious yesterday. I don't know if you could tell while I was doing the whole thing. The All 22, I was anxious. I had just recorded the interview with Falk, and I went on an interview. I went on a show before that lasted almost 2 hours with a friend of mine who covers the 49ers, and it's just like that, breaking the news yesterday, with Stafford and the quarterback, and just like everything going on. It was just like, oh man, like it was starting to hit me. And then I'm starting to like doze off a little bit, but in my, like the way I doze off when I'm getting tired, I talk more. I get louder to try to like almost, overcompensate for that. And it's just funny because people that know me, like I got a text from one of my friends was just like, man, you were clinging on to dear life midway through that. I don't know how you got through that. I was like, I don't either. So yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a big believer in transparency. It's like, if you're not doing well, like I've been open about it on Twitter. Like if my mental health is just complete garbage, like I'll say it and be like, all right, hey guys, I need to take a little bit of a break. I've never taken a break from content, but I've taken a break from Twitter. And I think it's important, just, self-care. I know when some people are rolling their eyes about it anytime you say it, but it's like, it's true. And I just think that's that. But
I can't count how many times I've deleted all those apps from my phone.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and just been like, I just need it off for a solid week or two.
Yeah.
And something we should, as a whole society, should be more transparent about it. Like, hey, these things got to be taken care of. Like,
I agree.
People are going to go through it. Like, you never know when it's going to be you or when someone else. And it's just, hey, it's better when we can actually support each other and be like, okay, hey, you need that time, take that time, rest up when you're ready. It's there.
Absolutely. Hey, well, look, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I did it yesterday. I'm going to take some time and eat because I have not eaten anything. Okay, so I am going to have to go and do that. Appreciate everyone for being in here. Swizzleberry, thank you so much for obviously all your support. You're great, and you're welcome back anytime, as you know. Before I end this, do you have a final score prediction?
I am very skeptical about doing score predictions.
Okay.
But I feel like if my most, the thing that's landing to my head the most is we're probably going to lose by in the range of 5 to 10 points, right in that range. Like, I think it's going to be close to a 1-score game, but it could potentially be like a 9-10 point game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have them losing by 4, so I get it. I think they cover. But we will see. Gammon Brown, thank you so much for the super chat. Niners fan here. Please do a show with Eric Crocker. Nervous about our Nickel cornerback versus your wide receivers. Donald will be a problem. Niners 30, Rams 24. I think that's I'd sign up for that. I'd sign up for
That sounds reasonable.
a 6-point loss, competitive. Like if I knew the Rams had to lose, like that score doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What
Gammon.
I want to see is the line hold the pass rush to 3 or less sacks.
That would be really cool.
That's the main thing I want to see out of this. Can the line do that? And can we move the chains and get at least 12, 13 first downs? That's my targets that I want to see out of this game.
I want that white jersey to be as clean as possible with number 9 in the back. Watch, like looking at those pictures with like the 4K and 8K cameras, it's like you can see, dude, that jersey was clean as hell. And I think the only time it got some scuffs on it was because of the QB sneak, which I hated. He didn't get hit the whole game, so why put him in harm's way there? Just, I do not like QB sneaks. I really don't, never have. But yeah, guys, really appreciate you. As it stands right now, I will keep you guys posted, but as it stands right now, we're still on for Thursday Night Football watch party. Eagles, Vikings, if anyone's interested. I'll let you know if anything comes up, but right now we're still on for that. So there will be a live stream in some capacity tonight. Will probably be football related, and we'll be on Kick and YouTube. So again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, like if you haven't already, follow if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, folks. Here's something you could do right now just to save some money. Switch to Mint Mobile. I'm partnering with them for today's video. You might already know Mint Mobile if you've seen those funny ads from Ryan Reynolds, who is an owner. But let me tell you quickly how awesome this service is. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 per month. And you don't have to sacrifice any coverage, speed, or data. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep the cost low because they sell directly to you online. Why should you pay more than you have to for access to the same network? I've had a great experience using Mint Mobile, and the thing that I love the most is that unlimited plan. It got me out of a bind on a 23-hour drive down to Florida. I was able to use it, and it was super fast, and I highly recommend it. Lucky for you, switching to Mint is super easy. Thanks to their digital eSIM cards, you can sign up and activate immediately right from your phone from the comfort of your own home. They cut out the retail stores and salespeople. No more standing and waiting around at a big wireless store. You can keep your current device and phone number and easily switch services. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint will ship you a new SIM card free of charge. My experience using the eSIM card was relatively simple. I just went into the cellular data and I went to secondary and I put in the eSIM card. It was that easy. All Mint Mobile plans do include unlimited nationwide talk and text, plus lightning fast 5G and free mobile hotspot. Mint will show you how much data you use each month and recommend plans that save you money. Mint also offers a modern family plan that sets you up a super affordable family plan with as little as 2 lines. Use my link in the description to get premium wireless starting as $15 a month at mintmobile.com/JKB. Stop paying more than you need to on your wireless bill and start saving big with Mint Mobile. You ever get those ridiculous social media scams where people pretend to be somebody you're friends with and tell you you can make a lot of money? I know I do. It's why I'm very excited to partner with today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is an easy-to-use app that essentially packages a bunch of services to stay safe online all in one. Aura protects you from scammers and hackers. They scan the web for all sorts of data leaks and alert you as soon as they find anything. Aura is like the offensive line for a quarterback, consistently offering you protection from suspicious and malicious activity. They have a VPN built in that keeps your browsing history and personal information safe and encrypted. They'll even alert you if someone's trying to open up a credit card or a loan in your name. Did I mention they protect all your devices from viruses, malware, spyware, and any other things so the bad guys can't break in? Aura can even manage what your kids do on their devices. You can set limits and restrict them from specific apps. They have a password manager as well, so you don't have to rely on an outdated Rolodex or that sticky note that's been on your desk forever. There are apps that do all of these things, but there isn't one that tackles everything the way Aura does, which is why I say Aura is a 5-man offensive line and you're the quarterback. So head on over to aura.com/JKB. You can find it in the description and start your free trial today. Do you need some energy to get through the day without relying on coffee? I got just the thing for you. It's called Neuro, and I'm partnering up with them for today's video. Neuro has gum and mints to energize, calm, and focus when you need it. They were developed by former athletes who were training at the highest level and simply didn't want to take any mysterious supplements or energy drinks when studying, training, or even going out. Instead of something sugary and ineffective, they wanted to create clean and balanced energy that could be taken anytime and anywhere. Their energy and focus formula is specially formulated with natural caffeine, theanine, and B vitamins to sustain the mental endurance necessary to maintain your focus. Their calm and clarity formula is expertly developed with GABA, vitamin D3, and L-theanine to optimize composure and clarity of mind. Their health and vitality formula is specially infused with life-enhancing, immune-boosting vitamins to help strengthen and support your body. What makes Neuro different? Neuro's gone through dozens of formulations, process, and tests to ensure that each gum and mint they make delivers on their promise of getting you in the right state at the right time. Unlike other heat-extruded gum and mints, Neuro's products are created using cold compression technology, which maintains each ingredient's bioavailability. Neuro is a clean boost of energy without the jitters of coffee or an energy drink. With so many challenges and demands, it can be really hard to stay focused, and Neuro does a great job of keeping you calm, cool, and collected. Stress, fatigue, lack of focus can all impact decision-making abilities. Recently, I had been feeling sluggish and have been distracted with everything going on in my life. These Neuro mints, however, have allowed me to stay on task and have stayed calm, cool, collected, as well as alert, and I've been able to change my approach and focus on the task at hand. Go to my sponsor link now down below, tryneurogum.com/JKB to enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.